So.
I thought that was a weeb thing.
What?
The tank top.
Previously on Basement Discourse, we talked about how we're old fucks.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
That's pretty much all I got. Hello, basement dwellers. I'm Brady. I'm the Otaku third of this show. We have Jace. He's our gaming geek. And we have the ever sweater wearing Justin down there. Creeping out in the corner. He's your D&D dude. And today you may have noticed we have 4 panels because we have a special guest named Brandt. Just before we get into the show, I would like you all to please run over and follow our Instagram, our Facebook, Twitter. What the fuck else we got going on? If you don't like our faces for some reason, despite Jace's obvious beauty,
I've been upgrading mine.
You can listen to us on Apple and Spotify. Apart from that, we got Discord that you can ask to join as well.
And of course, you can find all the videos on YouTube, yo.
Yeah, well, they're watching that.
Are they?
Are they? right now.
I hope so.
Fuck, we're streaming again.
I fucking hope so. I like that you got a ghost chair in the background this episode, by the way, Jace. Just
that is always in the background.
No.
It is.
Really?
The trick is
it's
that
not.
I keep changing lenses on the camera so you get different field of view nearly every podcast. And it just fucks with you guys. And I live for this.
Speaking of change, I noticed you got some new tats, Jace.
I also shaved off my moustache.
And he did mention it like 3 seconds
ago. That looks real strange, yo. That looks real strange.
Dude, it makes my face look so long. I hate it. On the upside, it's already longer than Brady's.
Yeah, that's...
It makes you taller than him.
Before we introduce our guest properly, I'm just going to have a little gloat moment. Avid listeners who've definitely all seen the Christmas special will also remember me talking about when Funimation bought Anime Lab. And you guys remember that too. Well, now there's been a new move where Funimation is being bought by Crunchyroll. But back when we first talked about this, I bragged about... I made a prediction that what was going to happen would be, because Sony owns both companies, that this was going to happen anyway, because Sony owns both Crunchyroll and Funimation. So when Funimation bought out Anime Lab, I was a little sad because it was like a little Australian startup from Melbourne that like was actually a really good interface and worked really well, whereas Funimation is pretty trash. But there's not many other options as an anime fan in Australia. So, but now, Crunchyroll's taken over Funimation. That's a thing that's happened. And I noticed around the same time as the Anime Lab purchase happened, Sony took all movies and TV shows off the PlayStation Store. So I'm still maintaining my prediction that Sony is geeing up to be one of the latest brands to come out with their own streaming service. But that service will have a monopoly on anime. For anything that's not Netflix licensed. So that's kind of interesting. So that's my little brag. Let's find out about you, Mr. Brandt, because you're just sitting there waiting, listening to my bullshit rather kindly. You're a mate of Justin's, and that's about all we know apart from a really cool graphic, which I will actually put on screen, even though I've stopped doing that recently.
It'll be there.
It's the most awkward place to put it. I'm going to make it like dance around. You do graphic design and you like D&D. I burped through my talking, and you like some anime as well. And that's all I know about you. So can you give us a full rundown, deep dive into your personal bio, like an anime backstory? And if you don't, I think you should be embarrassed.
Yeah, sweet. So it all started when I was 10.
Let's go further back.
Yeah.
Further back, I need to know how the sperm entered the egg.
Well, I wasn't there for that, but let's just say I won.
Half of you was in each part of that.
Brandt won.
I won. Well, yeah, I'm just a big fan of D&D ever since Justin got me hooked on it.
He's a crack dealer again.
Yeah. he's always been a crack dealer. You know, it's my guilty pleasure. Also into fitness and personal training, so it's kind of good, just sort of balancing those out. Big into video games, big into Hellboy. pretty much anything pop culture. I tend to have a memory that can remember a quote from some obscure movie in like 5 seconds flat. But if you asked me what my timetables were, I wouldn't be able to help you out with that.
Yeah, maths is terrible.
Yeah, my memory is just absolutely shocking. So pop culture, film, anything like that, that's sort of what I really enjoy, apart from fitness. And yeah, that's basically it. Just
my partner will testify that I'm very much the same to a very annoying degree, because she'll tell me something that needs to go in my calendar that's a rather important thing. I got nothing, but if she asks me to quote an anime episode, I'll do it front to back.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I don't need a schedule for movies, but for anything day to day, I've got a whole booking system for that.
9:30 a.m. shit. 9:32 a.m. wipe ass after shit.
That's pretty much
2-minute shits. The hell,
man.
Justin?
How long do you take?
Taking a shit?
Bro, I don't have no time for that shit.
Yeah, just a shot of olive oil before you go to the bog.
I've been introduced into a whole new fucking genre that I've got to catch up on. Like, what the shit, man? You think I got time for that?
Cool, man. So you're a bit of a fan of it all.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it. Anything that's pop culture, film, anime. I don't judge anything if it's I know a lot of people like film, but they absolutely fucking hate anime. Nah, not me. I'm anything pop culture, sign me up.
Yeah, those people sound like cowards.
They do.
They sound like they're too scared to be attracted to some anime booty.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? That prompts me to ask Justin, why the fuck did it take you till we started a podcast to get you into it? Because you're obviously surrounded by people who are also getting into something.
Man. No idea. I don't know. I always had this like vision of it just being like Digimon, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z world, like, and that was it. Like I was like, nah, that ain't my thing.
I think that's common though. Like that's not.
So that was what was in my face as a kid, and I just did not like it. And I don't know. I guess there was just not enough people that were like pushy enough until Brady came along.
That's like the epitome of Brady.
Yeah.
Just keeps poking you with a stick. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. And you're like, all right. I guess I'll try it then.
I mean, it's understandable. He's got the typical samurai sword in the background.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
Like
for the
King
record,
Weeb over here.
not typical. That is Tensa Zangetsu.
Oh.
It's not just a samurai sword. This is Ichigo's Bankai, and you will not bad talk it.
Oh. Right.
Wait, doesn't that have a swastika on the hilt?
It's a Buddhist wheel of life.
It's the
Yeah,
opposite.
swastika.
The Buddhist wheel of life was somewhat aggressively rebranded.
No, it's cool. I get it.
But yes,
I understand.
White guy with swastika sword. I get it, bro. I get it.
So while I introduced Brandt to D&D and he loved that, Brandt introduced me to something, and that was Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yes.
Have you boys seen that movie?
Dude, that movie is fucking amazing.
Right? It's so fucking good.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
right?
It's amazing.
Yeah. You laugh, you cry, and then you laugh a little bit more.
It's one of those brilliant, like, it's not quite an action movie, but it's not quite a comedy.
Yeah.
And it just rides the cusp the whole fucking way.
Yeah.
And I live for that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
Brady,
my favorite
real
movie.
Quiet.
He's just listening. He's taking it in.
He's like, I've never heard of this shit in my life.
no, I got no
What
idea.
anime is this?
Little China must be one of those new Chinese animes.
Is this isekai?
My favorite movie is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and when I saw Big Trouble in Little China, it just absolutely reeked of just old school version of Scott Pilgrim. So I was hooked from there. It's just they are amazing.
I have to check it out. I haven't heard of it.
No,
But Scott
it's
Pilgrim.
Real good.
Look, don't expect like.
It's just
set your
Kurt Russell
expectations
being
as a
fucking
goof.
beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just think about it as a goof, and then anything else that comes out of that, then okay, then sure. Because like,
It's very 80s.
Yeah, very
Yes,
much
yeah,
so.
very 80s.
Yeah.
I can do that.
But we got to play the tabletop version of that same game because Brandt owns it, which is pretty fucking cool. So
it was a hard snag as well. It was difficult to come by, considering Game Traders only owned one of them.
Jesus. Yeah.
So yeah.
So that was pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
It's
So
quite
anyway.
the effort.
Yeah. No, it is good fun though. It's very fast paced. So it's kind of similar to D&D with a bit of the combat, just with your rolling and whatnot, but it's designed to be a lot quicker. So you obviously, they're rushing around in the movie, and the board game really translates that, where you just sort of have to be non-stop, just rushing past enemies. Otherwise you will end up getting destroyed and lose.
Yeah, we learned that pretty early on. You don't have to kill them all. You actually shouldn't kill them all because you don't have enough time. Like, it's kind of like a chaos meter that builds up as you're playing through, and if it builds all the way up to the top, then you're pretty well fucked. So yeah, we didn't realize the first time I think we played that, we were like, right, we need to clean this room, we need to kill everyone in it. But yeah, it doesn't work that way. No,
yeah, we're really trying to wipe the board.
Yeah, you can't.
That's insane. I totally did not know there was a board game for this shit.
Oh, neither did I. It's sick.
That's amazing.
It's so
Really
cool.
cool. I have to,
Sounds like another special in the works.
I think we need a few for board games in general, though. I mean, our current specials are all fucking D&D, but I mean, that's
what we're in. But yeah, I think this could make a special for sure.
Like, well, we've already been talking about like the possibilities of like Cyberpunk. I think I mentioned Vampire the Masquerade at one point.
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of like tabletop goodness that we could juice.
Absolutely. Get all of the advertisement sponsorship that we need.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of like silly games as well that aren't like tabletop RPGs, but like I've got all the what's that brand that does like the cutesy t-shirts?
Unstable Unicorns.
Yeah,
the
Teen Turtle ones.
Unstable Unicorns. It's designed to be RPG like, but not. I saw they released Wrong Party, which looks really funny. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Because it was based on one of their shirts, where it's just like a dude in a clown outfit, and then there's like a bunch of adventurers, and they're like Wrong Party. It's like, so they made a whole game based around that. What's the other one? It's like you genuinely kill monsters and Here to Slay. Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah, I really wanted to get the Kickstarter of that.
So I've got it.
Nice.
And so my mates, like, not all of them are like geeky inclined as I am, and like D&D is a big jump for a lot of people who are like only slightly interested in fantasy stuff. But I think Here to Slay is like such a good middle ground for a lot of people, because we are finding there are people who are more willing than in the past. Like, I don't know if it was Game of Thrones or something like that, like The Witcher. Like, people are a little bit more open to fantasy than they used to be, I think. And then with games, especially if it can be like slightly funny, I think you can get people in a little bit easier with things like Here to Slay, and then work them up to D&D if you're sneaky.
Yes, yeah.
It's like Justin, we got him into anime by being like, just watch this. Just watch this. And then 5 seconds later, he's like, tentacles! Because he's
it's immediately. Yeah, right up creeping. Thanks. That's great.
Wait, wasn't it after... Was it after episode 3, I think it was, that he actually went out and found hentai?
Yeah, he found his own.
Went looking for it.
Yeah.
You got to sample all the delights.
Some delights are not needed to be sampled.
Got to dip your toes in. So I'm actually going to interrupt talking to you about that for a second, Brandt, because there's a whole world of stuff that you know, and I really want to talk about the design you did of Justin and like that world of yours as well, because that's not a PT skill.
Yes, we know.
No, I designed the thumbnails for this show. We're not typically very good at graphic design. It's not our thing. We lift heavy stuff. That's it. But Jace, to excite you, I watched Toradora. Only 2 episodes thus far. Thus far,
fucking smile is terrifying, Jace.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I thought it was.
I know this lack of moustache is like even
your mouth looks so much bigger.
So it was the week for I had a little bit more time, and I thought I'd do stuff that I'm reasonably sure I won't enjoy. So I played Doom 3. More content on that later, everybody. And I watched Toradora, which is a slice of life anime. And for everyone watching who's definitely keeping up with all of our episodes, I'm not a slice of life guy.
Yeah. You're a little bitch.
No, I would argue that people who watch slice of life are kind of a little bitch.
Nah, man.
Nah.
Real men cry, bro.
For reals.
You. Fist bump, virtual fist bump. To my homie who
only boys don't show their
cry.
emotions.
That's right.
It's just not why I sit down to watch anime. Like, there are other bits in my life. So like we're all three of us are metal fans. I don't know about you, but we do notice there are elements of our life that would surprise people. So Jace, for example, loves the shit out of slice of life anime.
How is that surprising?
Justin
I look like a soft, approachable fellow.
Yeah, sure. Justin owns a dog smaller than my cat. And I
How's that
listen to
surprising when
Michael
the guy wears
Bublé
a sweater?
after I'm done listening to him on a muff. So that's like completely normal things. So I thought I'd watch it. The first 2 episodes went exactly kind of how I'd expect them to. I'm not super invested in the characters right now.
You won't be at the start.
So I'm going to let it play out because I feel like they're just 2-dimensional, predictable, and boring right now.
They definitely start that way, and that is sort of the appeal, is that they do actually grow as characters. Because I thought the same thing.
So
that is
just for
actually something
context, because like I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, and I think by the look of Brandt's face, I don't think he knows what he's talking about either. What is Toradora? How many seasons are out? Where can you find it?
Just one. So
One
Jace
season.
has spoken about it before, and I'll let him talk rather than me just talking heaps.
Yeah. One season, I think it was 26 episodes in total. It can be found on Netflix. I think it was on Crunchyroll as well.
I'm watching on Netflix.
Yeah, easiest way to get it's Netflix probably. And basically it's, you know, your typical anime based high school kids. And it's one kid who is a bit of an outcast. He, like, everyone tries to avoid him because they think he has a scary looking face. And so, everyone just thinks
you
he's
can relate to.
Yeah.
I was about to say exactly that.
Wait, we found out why Jace likes Toradora. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's fucking great.
That's worthwhile having a guest on for that remark. That's the intro.
You know, right there, that had never clicked that might have been part of the appeal.
How do you not realize that?
But yeah,
No,
so
I think based on my limited 2-episode watching, that it might be a little censored, but I think his father was Yakuza.
He was either Yakuza or just like a dude who liked to get into
like
fights.
quite famous version of them though, like known because he looks like his dad, and that's why people are kind of
so he has that sort of like gnarled expression on his face all the time, and so people think he's a bad guy. And then the other main character is Tiger, and she is a really small girl that everyone sort of
fucking
just
carry around a
avoids
wooden
because-
katana all the time.
Yeah, and she's just like really angry because a lot of people sort of put her in a box and just assume a lot about her. And so she's just a really angry person. And
Point 2 of why Jace likes this show.
I'm not an angry person.
No, people don't ever put you in a box or anything.
No, that doesn't happen. And yeah, so basically they both have like crushes on each other's best friends. And then they come up with like a plan on how they can both end up with each other's best friends. And it sort of develops from there.
Tiger's crush is the voice of Ichigo in English, by the way.
Mother of God. I've got to go back just to hear that now.
Johnny Young Bosch, original Black Power Ranger, super popular anime actor. Yeah, so I watched the first 2 episodes. Impressions so far are that it is a slice of life. They're a little too deep.
Very observant.
Yeah, but that's because I don't watch slice. They are a little bit for me, a slice of life, and I guess this is why I've only liked slice of life movies, they need to take off reasonably quick. And I do like the fact that there's room for growth, but I'm also like, not much is happening in each episode. So I'm going to stick it out and I will give a update review, because I said I would do this because you guys have done things that, you know, were outside your comfort zone. So,
well, like, I think
out.
the biggest thing is think of it like shonen, except the characters develop instead of the person's fighting skills. So you notice how like Goku wasn't like Super Saiyan in 2 episodes? It took like 800 fights for that to happen. That's the same, except Slice of Life is all about character development.
I'm gonna give it a go.
That's fair.
But I just thought I'd drop that now to see that smile on Jace's face that was unfortunately rather creepy without the mustache. But we got there anyway.
The mustache will be back soon. That's cool.
Let's learn a little bit about our guest, apart from the fact that he roasted fucking Jace in 3 seconds.
So good.
Which is
How is it I'm getting roasted this time? Like, the fuck? I'm usually the safe one.
Well, okay, so Kendall roasted all of us in 3 seconds. And then Zach roasted himself, kind of, I think.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach's worth roasting.
Yeah. He was, the episode ended with him like holding his junk and talking about that. Yeah. So
that was great. And then we invited him back for D&D.
Terrible mistake.
I think we're the problem, really.
I think we might be the ones.
So you're into pop culture. What else in that realm appeals to you, Brandt? Like, why is that really struck a note with you?
Well, so obviously, like I really enjoy like a good story. Like that's my main thing. Because due to my like you saw my drawing, like that's something I've done since I was a kid. So before fitness, before like I was really into anything, I was drawing from about 3 years old. So I really wanted to, back when I was young, like just make comics. So I think I really got invested into like stories and how to tell them, like even in school in English, like how important like all of Shakespeare's work was. Like I think when I was in school, I remember one of my English teachers like saying that we sort of needed to figure out what we wanted to do, and none of us had like really any idea. But I still remember when I was younger that my one thing that I've always wanted to do, no matter what like outcome I have for what my career is or what I do, is I've always wanted to be a storyteller. So I think pop culture is really just something that I like. Movies is something I really got invested in because it's just, it's something that I can really, I guess, like I said, remember, I can get invested into it. It's something that is important to me, like the importance of a good story. Obviously there's been a few things, few games and movies that have, shaped everybody's lives, like whether it be Lord of the Rings or, everybody's had some movie shape their life in one way or another. That's really what the draw was for me. And I think, once I started getting into some good movies, there was, after that, I just
Lord of the Rings shaping your life sounds
not mine specifically, but I mean like for me,
that sounds a little bit like a hentai storyline, like one ring to rule them all.
No, for me it'd probably be.
And then I made up my life. My new mission.
It'd probably be Darksouls was a big thing for me, sort of getting through from being a child to maturity, like really sort of becoming an adult.
The idea of death.
Yeah, just
over and over and over again.
Just getting through like that adversity, like because a lot of people just quit it. So
Dark Souls is a good analog for adulthood, like it's
you'll fail.
Real good comparison.
And then you'll probably fail again.
You will just constantly die. Yeah. And it's just like real life.
Dodge and roll, dodge and roll, dodge and roll.
Dodge and roll.
Just in the fucking office, he's like, all right, listen, Brandt, we need to talk about your performance. Dodge and roll.
That's it. That's the winning
How do you do work? That's how you work.
That's why he got into PT.
That's how you PT. That's PT.
Justin works in aged care, by the way. So someone comes up and is like, I have a talk about the food, and he's like, dodge and roll. Just they can't catch you.
Keep rolling until you actually leave the room.
Just hit some old bird with a plate.
Oh man, that's too good.
No, but yeah, I would say that the importance of like stories that can help send a message to, whether it be a bit of maturity or lessons that you haven't thought of before. That's really what sort of drew me to film and to comics as well. Like everything like that. That's what has made it one of my most, like, my biggest investments in what I spend my time doing. So yeah.
I know for a fact that you are, well, one, a Dark Souls fan, so definitely want to talk about Elden Ring. So I'll give you the option, Elden Ring or Hellboy, because I know you're a massive Hellboy dude as well.
I'm going to interrupt with one last anime thing.
Oh, God. Not again.
Off.
Yeah.
Fuck it,
just
anime.
Just because of the storytelling element and what I've been up to this week. Yeah. So I've been watching Re:Zero, which I told you guys about because Jace likes maid girls.
Yeah. He's waifu simulator. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But they did a thing in this show, and you might like this, Brandt, or maybe you fucking don't. I don't know. But I don't know you. I've never hated a main character more, but also loved the fact that he was shit. So like, this main character is like your typical sort of shonen incel in a way. Like, he's not good with girls, and he kind of does feel like they owe him something whenever he's slightly nice to them. And it comes to this point at one stage where he literally says to a girl, like, you owe me so much. And she's like, yeah, I'm ending this, and walks out of the room. And I was like, I fucking hate you, you piece of shit. Like, he's the main character. The whole premise of Re:Zero, that is not a spoiler, it's an isekai. He goes into the world. He has an ability, his special ability in the fantasy realm is that when he dies, he comes back to life at a unspecified save point. So he can't set the save point, but he can return to it when he dies. So when he fucks things up and something goes wrong, he just, like, only one time has he suicided, but all the other times he's like died and redone things in a different way. So it's kind of a show where a character is so fucking bad a human being, like so bad, that every time he dies, he's like, I should probably be doing things a bit different. And he's like literally being brutally murdered into being a good person. Well, not even good, just average.
Just like, getting better all the time.
Just less of a piece of shit.
Dude, that's a perfect segue to Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like, slash Elden Ring, because that's exactly what the fuck happens.
Yeah, from a storytelling point of view, I actually thought that was really interesting to do. And I think, goes on to Elden Ring quite nicely.
That's great.
So.
Yeah, that's perfect, dude. That almost paints the perfect picture for Elden Ring, because that is
that's
precisely...
now like a 10-hour fucking segue.
Yeah. It's the end of it. We're like, what were we talking? Actually, it's the end of the show.
So let's segue into Elden Ring. I want to say something to segue into Elden Ring.
Yeah. That's how I operate.
It was good. It just a little long in the tooth, but it was good.
It would have been better if you didn't try and segue it 5 seconds earlier. I'm going to edit it out, so it's going to be super weird.
But don't edit out this part, so now it's even more weird.
No, everyone will be like, oh, you did edit it out. Gold.
Shit. Yeah, so Elden Ring, I've probably personally put about... So, backstory to this, Dying Light 2, I bought it on its release. Didn't really like it and didn't think that I had enough time in my life to spend playing it. So it was
spoke about that last episode. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So I was like, well, I got a limited amount of free time. I don't really feel like I want to waste it on Dying Light 2. Took it back within the 7 days, returned it to my my little local store here. And they're like, yep, sweet. You want to swap it for something? I'm like, yeah, I'll do Elden Ring because we're talking about that. And he's like, if you didn't have time for Dying Light, you ain't going to have time for Elden Ring. As he lights up his cigar inside of the, the game shop.
Why does everyone that you voice, they're either like a really bad racial stereotype or they're that voice? And they're like...
And like, why was he lighting up a cigar and not a bonfire? Like, I would have figured that would have been...
I think that's what Justin was going with. He's just like the fat cat He's like, if you can't do this.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah,
That's it.
See, I'm thinking that he's bringing up a Souls reference here, and nope, cigar.
No, because I've never played any of Souls. So that was the thing. I've never played Souls. I've never played Demon Souls. I've never played Sekiro and any of that stuff. I've never played anything from. So I was like, well, it's so fucking
Fuck that company's
annoying.
name.
Fuck those guys. So this is my first delve into it. The first fucking thing that I did was I missed the tutorial area. I walked straight past it. I'm walking around like, do, Elden Ring, cool. Died. Like, fuck, that sucks. Okay. Do, Elden Ring, died again. And then I realized I'm broke as fuck. I'm like, where's my money going? And it just took me the longest fucking time to work out what I was doing. And then I was like, looked up a how-to because I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, just first thing you do, as soon as you start the game, guys, this is one thing you don't want to miss out on, and it's the tutorial. It's right there. It's a big ghost sitting on a chair, and he's kind of like pointing down. Just do that, and you'll know how to play the game better. And then from there, like, we'll go. And
I feel like that's a failure in the development, though. Like,
oh no, that's design. That's by design. That's by design.
They're just fucking assholes.
From Software's logo should just be this without lube.
The older ones, you're lucky you even got an entire room. The old ones just left messages that look like messages multiplayer people can leave. So you'd be lucky if you found the right tutorial.
Fuck. So you just have to read all the messages and just get a bunch of finger buttholes.
Yeah. You have to read the messages and hope you're reading the tutorial ones.
Oh, dude. Some of the messages are fantastic. And actually, even the shit ones, I've got to say, are good because, man, you can be slogging some of these things. Like, you'll be in over your head, but you've lost your runes in there. So you got to go back for your runes and you start fighting the same boss over and over again, picking those runes up, fighting again, die, keep going. And like the saving grace is just seeing one of these messages that is as dumb as shit. Just being like, all right, that's a goof. Now we focus. And it's like you can refocus after reading a goofy message. I actually don't mind those. Although the ones that tell you when, cool. Like, so players can leave messages. For anyone who doesn't know what this game involves, it is very difficult to play. It's very tactical. Every enemy has their own different thing going on, and players can leave messages anywhere in the game as sort of a helpful. I mean, the idea of of it was that they can leave hints to help you out. So, hey, treasure chest ahead. Hey, trap ahead. Hey, guy, big ambush ahead. Whatever the fuck, like, it's just to help you out through the game. the thing with players is they're all fucking assholes, so they just do the dumb shit. Like,
is Elden Ring only online?
No, there is
no. You can play offline, but online you can see. It's kind of cool. You see ghosts of people that are nearby, and you can see what they're up to as well. You can see blood splatter on the floor, so you'll go up and press Y or whatever the fuck button it is on whatever console / PC, and you'll see them and how they died. You won't see whatever they're fighting, which is actually pretty smart, but you'll see them fighting something and then just getting their asses kicked. And you're like, fuck, okay. So the more blood splatters around, the more obvious.
5,000 times and then
100%. And then just like,
that's exactly it. Yeah.
It's exactly what happens.
Or you'll see people fall off of cliffs and you'll know not to go over towards that cliff.
But then all the messages leading up to the cliff will be like, jump off this cliff.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes.
Or that's a staple of all the games. The initial areas where you will definitely die, try jumping.
That's the problem. All of the messages around the fucking tutorial hole, because it's quite a big drop down to the tutorial hole, we're all saying jump. And I'm like, well, fuck you guys. I know what you players are like.
They used to put in messages that like it was, a secret treasure drop. And you've got to just jump down the middle, and you jump down the middle and you just die.
Yeah.
I fucking hate people. That's great.
People are the worst. But so I'm only about 22 hours in, Brandt. What are you in?
Oh, I hit 55 hours today.
Nice. And are you level 55?
I think I am actually like
Holy
level
shit.
50. Yeah, I think I'm about level 55.
So I'm only level 26. So in respective hours, I've spent way too long doing whatever the fuck I'm doing. But yeah. So
not tutorials.
Yeah, not tutorials and a whole lot of rolling around and just walking in wrong directions. Like so early on, you pick up the ability to summon spirits. I did not have that ability until level 20. I shit you not. Like, you should have it at level 1 if you got out the fucking door and walked straight.
Yeah.
I got out the door and I was like, what's over there then? What's going on over here, pal?
That was like one of my first Skyrim playthroughs. I did some bullshit like that and I like missed all the stuff. You know how you go through what's his fucking name? That dragon attacking the place, and then you go through a little cavern and then you're wandering along and you go to the first village. I didn't find that fucking village somehow.
Oh no.
I didn't follow the person, and
You're on the back of the cart, and he's like, "Hey,
no.
you just jump off."
No, but I did walk down that path, and then just like fucked off into the scrub. But I was also overloaded with weight, so I was just walking.
Oh no, you're doing that one
because I was
you pick up every fucking rock,
every wooden
frying
spoon.
pan.
So I was just like walking in the scrub, being like, this game's fucking weird. Like, it was all linear and now it's just like go nuts. It wasn't supposed to be like that.
My favorite thing is that we've now mentioned Skyrim in this episode too.
I know, right? It's so good. Yeah.
A little bit deliberate.
I need to think of like a Schnalo version for Skyrim now.
Skyrim.
No.
All right.
Lydia's... You know Lydia, the like carries your gear chick?
Yeah,
and like is assigned to be your like house.
The mule,
No,
the pack
like is
horse.
assigned to your house. Like her like disappointed parents. That could be a whole game.
Okay, yeah.
Raising Lydia. Raise her to be a fucking servant to the first person to do something good for the city.
The mother and the father are just people who've also carried shit for people. Like, this is how you do it, Lyd. One day you'll be just like us.
Yes.
Okay, Poppy.
Fucking
He's
hell.
gonna probably do
What
a
the fuck were we even
documentary
talking
interview on
about?
that.
We'll talk about Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Skyrim tangent.
Fucking Skyrim, man. Yeah, Elden Ring. It's the new Skyrim for sure.
I was gonna say,
Yes.
is that what they've achieved
So,
here? Is that what
I
they
think-
were going for?
Ah,
No,
bro.
no.
I think it's different. It's just so it's hard to compare, like, you know, but I think this will definitely probably be game of the year, I would say.
I would definitely say if it's not, people need to wake the fuck up and
Yeah.
realize how good of a game. it
Honestly,
is.
I think the only reason why it won't be is because of all the people that are whinging that it's too fucking hard.
yeah,
Like,
it's
I think
definitely
that's
a-
what
Which
it
is astounding, right? Because like that's all
Well-
this company does.
yeah, that's
Well,
what they're
so-
known for.
Yeah.
That's one of the interesting things though, right? Is that's what they're known for. It's not what they've always done, but it was ever since the success of Demon Souls,
yeah.
was they were like, oh wait, this is sort of popular. Like, it wasn't a critical hit because it was PlayStation 3 only.
Yeah, I
I
think it
think-
might have been. Yeah.
And then they ended up doing Dark Souls just to test the waters, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, people actually like this, and then it took off from there. But before that, they weren't all super hard games. But I'm pretty sure they were just obscure Japanese games mostly.
Right. Well,
Um,
I feel like Elden Ring is like their love child, like the one that just has finally topped off like all of their stuff. Like I can only say from like experience from watching videos and whatever, because I've not played any of them, but it looks like this is built up for a long time, and it's been a long time coming. Obviously, it's been delayed to shit, but I think for good reason, because I think it's come out and it's for fucking once I can put a game on and install it, and you know, whatever, it's like a little 6 gigabyte update or whatever to start, but it's not fucking broken when I jump into the game. So I can play it and I'm not finding myself completely infuriated by getting stuck anywhere or just having some dumb shit happen.
Falling through
Or-
floors.
Yeah.
You know, dialogue being all glitchy and not in time. Like everything so far that I have played through has been awesome. Like very difficult, of course, but it's been awesome and it's been very well polished. Like I just can't fucking floor it yet, and which is awesome. Being 22 hours into a game, floor,
I
whatever.
think he meant like find a flaw.
Yeah, that's yeah. I can't fault it. I can't find a flaw right now. Like, you know, unless you
Yeah.
just don't like that type of game, fair enough. Whatever, you know, fuck off. But
Yeah.
like, yeah,
You have no idea how happy I was to finally have a fucking finished, completed game to play.
Right? There's been so many broken games, and I'm not talking Cyberpunk broke because that is broke as fuck. Well,
That game's-
it was broke as fuck.
Yeah,
You know, it's come a long way
mostly all right now.
Yay!
Which
How's
is
it
funny
doing?
though, because I played it on launch. I have well over 100 hours in Cyberpunk, and I have experienced very few bugs.
Yeah. You're one of
And-
the lucky few, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
the guy who's all hype, even wearing his Cyberpunk shirt right now. He gets it and it plays fantastically. I've had like next to no issues.
You've been so
Dude,
lucky, dude. So lucky.
I got 2 Johnny Silverhand pop vinyls given to me as presents, and I was so hyped. And I played the game, and I just want to throw them out.
Oh my god.
I want to get rid of them.
Are you PC or console?
Console, and that shit, like last gen console, was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Shocking.
So I actually found some
So
interesting
the
stuff about that.
PS4 one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that is like genuinely.
I think that's
terrible.
literally the bottom of the rack.
Yeah.
The
So
thing that did it for me was when I found out that they had banned people from sharing video of current gen consoles because of how bad it was.
yeah, so one of the big problems was like the company that made it, CD Projekt Red, before The Witcher 2, I think it was, they'd never made a game for a console ever.
Yeah.
So they were PC dev only. And then as they're doing this, their marketing budget blew up. Like there was like $130 million spent on the game, but $300 million spent on marketing for Cyberpunk.
It was like $2.99 went to Keanu Reeves' pocket.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then he's such a nice guy, he would have given it straight back.
But yeah, so after they did that, they were like, well, we've got to put this on every console possible and blah, blah, blah. And they developed for PC first and then ported it out, which is a problem because PCs like mine that I've spent, nearly $5,000 on, that's going to run the game like a fucking dream. But you try and put that on a console that is, if it's running like a cut down version of an embedded CPU, but 2 of them, it can't do that. Like, so basically they had to cut more and more things out, and they still couldn't get it to run well. But because of all the delays, the executives are like, it's got to go out.
Yeah, you're in too deep at that point. Like, and I get it. Like, I understand why they kind of just pushed into a hard spot, right? Like,
well,
what do you do? You back out?
I
Make
feel bad
$0?
for the actual devs and the people that made the game, because all in all, I don't think there's anything wrong with the story, the setting, anything like that. All the problems were in the fact that executives kept pushing it out the fucking door.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get that though. Like, running out of money, like what the fuck do you want them to do?
Well,
they're gonna have to do something.
That's the thing, is they're not. They own Good Old Game, as in one of the largest PC-based game distribution companies.
Right.
They also made The Witcher, which keeps getting, new releases and
it's the new
content.
It's nearly the next Skyrim. Like,
exactly. So like,
it's pretty close. Yeah.
So like,
actually, it's one up on Skyrim. It's got a fucking TV show as well. So
Well, I think the TV show doesn't like it's
somewhat based off the books. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so I don't think they make money off the TV show. Is more what I'm getting at. But like,
Well,
it's
that's
not
jacked.
like they're going broke.
People might buy the game as a result, though. So it's all.
Yeah, true. Could be a trickle on.
But yeah, so like all of that seems to come down to marketing people and executives being dickheads. But the fact that From Software didn't do that with Elden Ring is so fucking cool.
Yes.
Agreed.
And they pushed it back several times and pissed everyone off and kept them wondering about what the fuck this game was. I thought it was a new Elder Scrolls when it first came out. Like, when the first thing came out, because it was like a 5-second teaser and it just said Elden Ring. And I was like,
I can get that though, because like the way it looks, like even like the like color palette used looks like an Elder Scrolls game. Like it's and it's already
once you're in the world though, it's it has a different vibe to it than Skyrim. It has this very different feel than Elder Scrolls. I don't know how to exactly describe it either. I think without the messages and without like the ghosts and without like other player interaction, it would actually be quite a dark game. Like,
yeah, it's very they're all very dark and very lonely.
Yeah.
That's why I really enjoy the online aspect, because the whole reason for having the phantoms of other players is to remind you that like you're not alone, because it can get very like rough at times, especially in the older games where like Elden Ring out of all of them is the brightest and the most upbeat out of all the games they've done.
For sure. And I can definitely see that, because you're not forced into a hole the whole time. Like there are dungeon crawls per se, but you're not stuck in a dungeon forever, and you can choose to go around almost like a lot of the fights. Like you can just avoid things if you need to.
Well, I found out after I'd beaten the first proper boss, after I'd beaten Godric, that you can completely skip Stormvale Castle. So.
Yeah, I heard that too recently. But the Godric fight was really fucking satisfying though.
Yeah.
I went into it at like level 26, which was way higher than you should be, because I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So, but going in there at level 26 was actually quite fun. It wasn't infuriating as probably you would have had a tougher time than me, I assume, and you would.
I had to get his moveset down, and once I did that, I was all over him. But yeah, it was rough. There was so many times where he would just one shot me with his flames and everything, and it was fucking annoying.
The bosses are just next level, and they're just so impressive. Like the character art is just amazing.
Yeah.
Each enemy just has some cool shit. Like once you finally kill this guy, which he just looks amazing, just like this shamanistic sort of dude with like, I don't know, some sort of like growth coming out of his head. Like, I don't know if it was trees or what, but it looks sick. It was just so good. You finally destroy him. You get into the castle, and the first thing that happens is you get attacked by fucking birds with swords on their feet. You're like, what the shit? Like, you're a bird already. Like, it's bad enough that you're just like, attacking me because you're a bird, but now you got sword feet. Like, what the shit?
It's just magpies in
hang on.
August.
You're talking about Margit. I'm talking about the first like proper boss.
Oh, bro, then I'm not even there.
You're up against like the first like little sort of mini boss.
He's not the real boss?
He's not the real boss of the castle.
Level 26, and he's just like a fucking throwaway henchman.
I guess you could say he's possibly closer to like the right-hand man of the guy that runs the castle.
Oh, crap. I mean, he was hard. He wasn't really hard, but he was hard enough.
He was very difficult.
I'm in for a battle then. Yeah, right. Awesome. Well, it's satisfying though. When you finally kill something like that, you're like, yeah, that was sick.
Yes.
So I have some experience with Souls games, right? So I don't have Elden Ring, as Justin and Brady know. I played Dark Souls 1, but Dark Souls 1 on PC is dog shit, because there's no proper mouse support and controllers suck ass, and I fucking hate using them. And it's really buggy on PC for some reason, or at least was when I got it. So I only got like an hour and a half into it. I think I'd beaten the first boss and gotten to like the second bonfire, and that was like it.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2 I have, and I don't remember playing it ever. And I went to the launch party of Dark Souls 3 and just played there. And that is like literally my experience. But I'm so on the fucking fence about getting Elden Ring. Like,
honestly, it will be game of the year, I think, for sure.
It's
that's not always a sell, but yeah, it's about $89 Australian.
No, that's
so
all right.
it's about right for retail.
Yeah, the biggest barrier is definitely going to be, like we're saying, the difficulty. Like, if you're happy to put yourself against that challenge, it's the best game. Like, I would say it's my favorite game ever made, just because of how big of a Dark Souls fan I am, and the fact that they've made that open world with just so much stuff in the open world. Like, it's not empty.
100%. No, you never find yourself bored. You never find yourself like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, just fucking riding. With just nothingness. Like, it's infuriating. You will like go around a corner and there are just like 3 or 4 amazing things. Like, you go around the corner and you just got to stop to even just look at the view. Like just the environments
I
themselves
think
are
The
amazing.
Witcher did that a lot as well,
You know?
though. Like as much credit
Yeah.
as it gets. Like
Yes.
The Witcher 3 was pretty bad for like I get that it's realism to a degree.
Yeah,
that
they
there
go like
wouldn't be
full
something
size
over
and
every
whatever.
rock, but often I'm like wondering, and I'm like, yeah, this has been a good 20 minutes of just fucking walking and not encountering anything.
I reckon if you were traveling for a minute without seeing something different, and I don't mean an encounter per se, like maybe not an enemy, but something different in the environment or around you, then that's not Elden Ring. Like there's no fucking way you could ride in any direction for a minute.
30 seconds or so.
Legit.
That's kind of good though, because it's like, as we discussed in the last episode with time constraints, it is good to be able to chuck on a game and be like, look, I only have an hour and I want it to be engaging and fun, and you'll get that.
Yeah, just let me die for the next hour.
Die.
Just let me roll and flip.
But
that's probably right.
In defense of Red Dead and The Witcher, Red Dead is supposed to be relatively realistic to the Old West.
So
you can't just be like
fuck all there.
Fucking eagles mauling people every 3 meters or something, you know.
It had its moments. Like it had like, you know, those strange KKK scenes in the woods and stuff, which were fantastic.
And the random murders where you'd see people like gutted up against a tree and stuff like that. That was weird.
People trying to take people out to the woods to murder them, and
And because The Witcher's based on books, its geography has to be based around that as well. So in their defense, I think they're following their media. Whereas From are like, well, this is our shit. We do what we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all y'all.
And in Elden Ring, you're kind of in another world, right? Like it's not the normal. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's not really
part of the Souls universe.
No, so there's it's kind of up for debate. A lot of people are stringing together theories. I just watched one the other day. There's like some dude that's like the relative authority on Darksouls put a video up that was like the entire timeline, like if it could work together, and people already have theories for how Elden Ring can fit.
Jesus,
it's too much.
They're all separate universes.
That's as bad as the fucking Disney theory things that I see all the time, where they're just like shoehorning characters together, and they're like,
there's Disney, and then there's Dark Souls.
yeah. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. But that's probably a good note. In terms of fucking hell, Justin.
Break.
In terms of real life references, in real life, we need to pee.
No, we don't.
Smells good, don't it? Creamy, pungent, poignant, moist, yet sticky and tantalizing textures. You know you want some of this cheesy fromagerie. Come on down and say cheese.
So, that ad was a little bit weird.
Was it?
Yeah, it was whack.
It's pretty... Yeah, sure.
Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for the money.
Yeah, thanks for supporting the show, I guess.
I guess.
Talking Elden Ring, I mean, Jace says he's on the fence. I haven't gone there. I don't have the time right now. I do want to play it like really badly. I'm a big fantasy fan, so... I don't know, guys. Should we do it?
Let's sell them.
Definitely
slick the fucking hair back.
Very worth. Like
slick his hair back.
You're like a greasy salesman, except that
shouldn't you be like smoothing your moustache or
slick the mo back?
Oh yeah, right.
No, do the like French.
Wow, see, wow.
Looks exactly like the same creep in the corner of the store as he always does.
I don't have the jacket. Damn. All right, let's sell them. Let's sell these boys on Elden Ring.
Yeah, I would definitely say that that it's definitely worth. Like, if you can really get past the difficulty, that's your biggest barrier, because the world itself is like, oh man, just everything about it is just perfection. And like
one of the coolest parts, like you step out of like the tomb or wherever you are at the start, the part where you're meant to do the tutorial, you step out of there and the first thing you see is the Eld tree, like the Erd tree or whatever it is. And it is fucking beautiful. And it takes up more than your screen. Like you can barely fit it within the screen at all at any time. It's so huge.
I do have a pretty big screen.
let's not talk about sizes here, guys. But I'm playing on a television. So
Well, I've got 3 monitors here.
just stretch it out over the 3.
I did that with Mirror's Edge, and that was a really weird experience.
That would have been whack as hell.
First person, so yeah, it was fucking wild.
And that's
Anyway.
how VR was invented.
Mine, if I put something in the middle, it just cuts it.
Yeah, that's because mine's designed to be multiple screens.
Yeah, it's like an extension of not
my graphics card does it.
Yeah,
natively. I think they originally called the technology Eyefinity. But yeah, it's designed.
Well, there you go. Now shut the fuck up and buy Elden Ring. Yeah,
that's
myself.
So far, I know a tree is big.
Was that the sales pitch?
No,
no, just shut the fuck up.
The audio,
we're building the scene here.
The audio works very well with it as well. Like sound design is something that I've like really started to appreciate a lot. Like, and FromSoft does it so fucking well. Like their soundtracks are just fucking classics. And like Justin said, when you come out of the first area and you see the tree, the part that makes it so much better, especially if you like going through it with your headphones, it'll just be dead silence in this first area. And then as soon as you like creak open these big iron doors and you see like the massive world like out in front of you, it hits you with like this real like somber, like overworld tone. And I shit you not, when Zach was over watching me play it, I was like dead set, just on the verge of like, not tearing up, but it was like get me emotional. Like it was just done so well that it makes you really feel that it's like some grand like open world. Like it's a really good starting piece for music and for the tree being your first like visual, that big golden fucking Erd tree.
Yeah, and it's just breathtakingly huge. But then it doesn't end there. Like, you know, you go around every corner, and as we said already, like it's just different. Like there's just big things and small things that really stand out. Like big chunks of like old buildings that are like sort of half sunken into the ground and forgotten, and it just has this size to it. Like it just feels huge. That first castle that you get to, ridiculous. Like it's a lot of games when you lead up to these castles and stuff, they look huge from like, you know, far away. You get closer and you go through the door and it feels like the door is like half a castle.
It's like 2 rooms.
Like, yeah, or like you step in and it's one boss room and you're like, oh, okay, this is a whole fucking castle with one room in it.
That reminds me of fucking Dragon Age near the start of the first Dragon Age.
Yeah, dude.
You climb the castle to fight there's some sort of monster at the top of the castle, but it's only like 3 levels and it's just this little circle.
Yeah.
And you just do 3 fights, get to the top.
And you're like, what are we, in a fucking lighthouse?
It basically is like a fucking lighthouse.
Yeah.
But Robert Pattinson isn't there.
No!
He's not just in a bed having a wank.
Oh, man. If anyone hasn't seen that already, you got to watch it once. Just once is enough.
Have you seen it, Brandt?
No, I've seen the trailers with like, and a lot of shit on Reddit about that and how good Willem Dafoe is in that apparently.
That's so fucking weird, man.
But yeah, I haven't seen
it.
I
still don't know whether I like it, whether I hate it, whether I'm just weirded out by it, or whether
I'm
it's
exactly
just
the
everything.
Same.
Like I've got no idea. But anyway, Elden Ring, shut the fuck up.
Fucking fanboys here. What have we done to the show?
No, you don't understand, man. You do not understand. This is
once you're in, you're
game
in.
Of the century.
Yeah, dude. It really has pushed the limits of some things that I didn't think could be pushed. And like, I don't like difficult games. I usually set a game to easy because of the amount of time that I have spare. So Dying Light, I set it to easy so I could smash through as much of the story as I could, try and enjoy the story. But like, this is different, man. Like, and I haven't really even had that much of the story get developed yet. Like, I haven't really had much revealed to me yet. It's still a mystery as to what a lot of these things are. Like, what is the Erd Tree? To me, like, I don't know. What is the Elden Ring? Like, I don't know if you know, Brandt. Like, I haven't got that far in.
Yeah.
But you really want to know, and you really want to discover the corners of the world as well. So you don't want to find the direct path. You find yourself, well, I find myself quite often just going, but I haven't checked this part of the map yet. Maybe I'll just go and check this out. And quite often, there's usually something there that's very interesting and very different from the other corner of the map that you've been to last time. And like, it's just next level. Like, you know, I went to a new area like the other day, and there's just this huge walking tower thing with a bell below it. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was just 4 legs and a massive bell. I'm like, what the shit is this? With just a building on top. And, you know, you can work out how to drop it. You go inside and it tells you that it duplicates some item that you've not even picked up yet 20 hours into the game. You're like, what is this shit? Yeah. What is this shit? Like, there is so much to it that it is huge, but it's not overwhelming at the same time. So it's a very big game, and I feel like there's going to be hundreds of hours of gameplay, but it doesn't overwhelm me or push me away from wanting to continue to play it, which I feel like
the best part about that is because it splits. So the way it splits its dungeons up, which is really different from like any other game like Skyrim or Fallout or whatever open world RPG, even Breath of the Wild, it does it better than Breath of the Wild as well. So the way its dungeons works is it doesn't just have one dungeon or one area that's like set as the standard. It has 4 different areas that you can come across at any time, and they are split between caves, catacombs, legacy dungeons, and I think I can't remember what the last one is, but there's 4 different types you can find, and they all vary and differentiate like within each category. And like, so for example, like your legacy dungeons, if you come across a legacy dungeon, I shit you not, that would be like the size of like an entire level or an entire game from the original Darksouls area. Like, it's the size of a legacy dungeon. I think there's about like 5 or 6 of them in the game. But the size of them is just immense. Like, I think out of my 50 hours, I'm pretty sure I spent 20 just in the first legacy dungeon, like just trying to find every corner.
Is that the one I'm in now?
That's the one you're in now, yeah.
Oh, no.
20 hours just searching like every corner of it because they've got like hidden shit everywhere.
Right.
So much verticality as well. So the map is like big, but it's deep too. Like, it goes so far below castles or like above. Yeah, it's massive and deep. Like it's telling people it's your first time deep. But it's so well done. Like, it's really, the scale is just immense, and the fact that they filled it with a lot of shit to do is so good as well. And like the type of dungeons just really keep you engaged, because once you've finished a legacy dungeon, which you've done well, if you're like me, you've fucking spent 20 hours going through a legacy dungeon, you'll come out the other side and you'll find a catacombs where you can go down for about 10-20 minutes and find like an awesome new item, an awesome new weapon, take out a fucking boss down there. Like, it's just such a good variety of shit to do. And like within those little sections, like for example, I came across a cave the other day, and just in the difference that the actual like, so you've got your 4 sections, and then like if you were to just like, let's say just caves, instead of it just being the same cave layout over and over and over again, they really like made these so fucking unique to the point where they all feel different. Like, I found one the other day where instead of going into the cave, I was like diving down through different steps of this cave all the way like through the earth. Like, it's just really well done with how they've done their level design and kept it intriguing. And I feel like that really helps with the size of the world and keeping you engaged, and, you know, stopping you from getting too angry and rage quitting, because you can always forget about one area and just go look for another path and find like a cave or a catacomb and walk through that like super easy. Like, it's so well designed,
and like items are achievable. Like, I picked up the cool double blade pretty early on, and it was just by accident. I was walking along, found a cave, went in there, and it was literally just right there. I was like, oh, here's a chest, probably a trap because this is way too easy. Grab it out. There's the double blade. I'm like, sick. Now I'm Darth Maul. This is awesome. Yeah. So,
and if you use blood magic, you can actually make the blades red.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool. I only have blue.
But that's that's a whole nother thing that like I could talk about forever, is the way they've really done magic and sorcery and faith such justice from the old ones. Like, the old ones, if you were doing a sorcery build, it was just a fucking slog because you would get rushed by enemies too quickly. Like, it would take you too long to cast a spell, it would be underleveled, it wouldn't do too much damage. But the way they've done sorceries and faith in this is they've tied it as a weapon art to your weapons. So you don't necessarily have to know the sorcery. As long as you've got a high intelligence for a sorcery build, you can use a sword, but you can put a weapon art on this sword that scales with magic, and then you can do your magic damage while not having like being completely out of your depth for defense and offense. Like, I was saying to Zach earlier today, actually, that it seems like out of all the games, this one has like the best loadout system and the best way to sort of like bring in like spell swords and battle mages, like compared to the old ones, because you couldn't really do that without getting your shit pushed in.
Well,
So quick.
I think that's one of the problems that I had, and it was one of the things I wanted to ask you guys about was, so like I'm a big RPG nerd, and I do like my RPG elements and my leveling and building a character the way I want to and whatnot. But every time I've picked up a Souls game, I feel like it's like, you want to be a fighter. Like they just sort of very much push you to, you really should just hold a fucking sword, you idiot. You're going to need this to get ahead.
I would say this is almost the opposite, where they sort of encourage you to try magic. So like, you don't have to do it, but I think magic would be beneficial for...
That is good, because I find like, I don't feel like any game has really nailed magic properly, because I feel like a lot of games, it's either... because of its ability to be OP really easily, they scale it back so hard that it becomes almost unusable.
Yeah.
I would honestly say that Elden Ring is the closest thing to perfection with your magic and your sorceries that I've seen in a video game to date.
Yeah.
Just purely for the fact that they've made some sorceries weapon arts, and all you literally have to do is, instead of like using that as your main attack, you can really like keep a shield or keep a sword and imbue your sword or shield with that magic to make like the one that was in the trailer that I really want to use if I do a sorcery build is there's like a great sword. So you could just be using a sword, and if you put a sword art on that turns it into a magic great sword, your guy will bring the sword back and like charge it up, and as you charge it, it'll extend the length of the blade and like coat it in magic, and then you bring it down for like an enormous fucking swing.
The amount of jokes that would just run like, Jace and I are just like...
I was going to make a joke that's exactly what Brady would be looking for in a game. Anything that can magically extend him.
You can literally sit there and compare the size of your magic swords for hours.
Finally. I've been playing Mass Effect for this, and now I've got more games.
But no, if you like going through with sorcery and you really want to do like that, that RPG and that sorcery build, the loadouts in Elden Ring, they give you like about 10 or 11 classes. I think it's something like that. But you really have the freedom to do a loadout like and extend that to like in
whatever
just the headcanon, to a number of different classes. Like
it's kind of like building a character in D&D. Like each like character will give you something. Like each race will give you maybe one stat that might assist you. But it's not going to make or break. So like I chose the prisoner as the startup because I looked it up and I was like, I want to be a spellblade, and prisoner seemed to be the right one because it gave me a couple of bumps to like, I think dex and intelligence, which was exactly what I needed. But you're not really stuck with doing that by any means. Like you could pick up the samurai and then also do spellblade or whatever the hell you really want.
Yeah.
Another really cool concept is that you can two-hand your weapon as well. So just by pressing a combination of buttons, you can choose to whether to wield it in one hand and then carry whatever other item you want, or you can switch to two-handed, and it changes the fight style immensely. You'll be a little bit stronger with the weapon, but you'll also fight entirely differently with the weapon, and that's very obvious with the samurai.
That's one thing I've seen a lot of people do with how you can sort of kit your weapons out and your loadout in Elden Ring is, like I said, magic in the old games, you had to use the staff and you'd be fucking like pretty shit. And even if you had the staff and a sword, your life would still be pretty rough. But I've seen a lot of people going through and like doing almost like Gandalf runs where they've got a staff in one hand and the sword in the other, and just like absolutely fucking shit up with like their sword arts, and like they'll go for a couple swings and they'll pop like a spell from the staff, and it's just so fluid. That's probably the best way to describe it, is it's a lot more fluid than the older games with magic. It feels like it's literally just a next step in the combo. Like it's really done well.
Cool. Yeah, I would play the shit out of that. That sounds worth the play at the very least.
Yeah, it's definitely it's worth the experience just for the visuals of the open world, the way you can sort of like tailor your class to whatever you want. Like even that's before we even get onto summons. Like you can it's basically Pokemon as well.
Summons.
You can find
We've got GFs.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Maid girls. Where's my maid
roasts you
girls?
about being maidenless. The game roasts you for being a virgin.
Oh wow,
It says you're maidenless and you have to find a maiden.
it's like
That's
Brady's
true.
20s.
But there's like literally like summons that you can find which are like which are like enemies. So you can find like
hang
enemies.
on. I just got fucking roasted.
Yeah,
What?
you're the
It
anime
wasn't
guy,
accurate
man.
either.
Yeah,
That's
sure it wasn't.
Oh.
No way you can prove that on a podcast.
So fucking Elden Ring, just go and buy it.
Yeah, do it.
Cool.
Do yourselves a favor and do it. It's
Yeah.
once you can get past that challenge, because there's if something's too difficult, there are a million ways around things. Like I dead set found one path and just kept going through it, and then came back to a starting area with things that I'd yet to explore. And I found caves that I was meant to do at the start that I'm only doing now. And I literally, with my fucking heavy sword, I think I killed a boss in 2 swings because I'm just that
Nice.
fucking difficult. Like I'm that overpowered now. Like, so there's a lot of ways to get around the hard shit that you couldn't do in older games, because there was only like about 2 paths in the older Dark Souls. Like you'd had the main path and you'd always have one that you could sort of go off.
So
and try.
one thing to keep in mind with this is anytime you rest, anytime you die, everything resets. So you got to keep that in mind. This game is different in that way that it's almost a wash, rinse, repeat, and you learn from your mistakes and you do them again. So like you go into a dungeon, you start working your way through, like, okay, there's a trap here. There's a guy who's going to ambush me here. There's this guy that I'm going to kill up the stairs. And then you die. You start back at the start and then you do all of those things again. You get back to where you died. You pick up your money, your runes, your currency to level up basically. And then you continue on from there, like, and keep going through. So that's the part that is hard to sort of get your head around when you start.
If you
Because
see
I was like,
Edge
what
of
the
Tomorrow, it's Edge of Tomorrow, but fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so having played Dark Souls before, I'm relatively familiar with the concept.
Yeah, so you'd know.
And
yeah.
also, it's not too dissimilar from Jedi Fallen Order, which I've been playing lately, except Jedi Fallen Order doesn't punish you by, if you die, then, you lose everything and go back. They're like, oh, you can have everything, but you've got to go back and all the monsters are back.
Yeah.
So it's a little more forgiving that way. But
Items you pick up, you'll keep, but your runes, you won't. And runes are the currency that you use to buy shit. It's basically money, but you also use it to level your character up, just so that people who don't know what we're talking about understand. So it's pretty important that you don't want to lose a big chunk of those. So I'm often just spending my money as soon as I have enough to spend it. Like as soon as you can level your shit
Yeah.
before you run away with like 6,000 runes in your pocket and die around the corner, because like you want to cry a little bit when you lose a good sum. Like when you lose a large sum of like your runes, like you just do something dumb and you're like, okay, I better get back there. And then you die, you're like, that was like 3 fucking hours, yo.
I think one of my first ones for Elden Ring, I had 20,000 runes on me, which just for reference,
God.
I think at the start you only need like about 1,000 runes to level up.
No,
So
dude,
back when I
no,
was-
way less. Way
Well,
less.
Sorry, less. So
Like, level
only
1
need-
to 2 is like 100 runes, maybe even less. It's fuck all. So like
Yeah.
20,000 runes would probably get you to level 20.
yeah, so when
Like,
you're like
that's how
early
big it is.
game, it's worth a lot. And I didn't realize I had as many as I did. And I died in a cave and thought, oh, I'll go back there and get it. It was just it was a cave full of wolves. I was like, yeah, I can take them out. I'll get them. And I went back into the cave the second time around and I was like, all right, I'll take this wolf out first and then I'll move forward and get my runes back. I fucking jumped down and the game just decided to send all of the wolves at me in one corner and I just got trapped in the corner.
Dude, I
And as
know
I'm
that
getting fucking
cave. I
eaten
swear I know
alive,
that
I'm just
cave.
like, I'm reaching for my fucking runes, just like, no, come back. It was 20,000 just going like that because I got cornered by about 5 fucking wolves because I just went in too cocky.
God damn it.
Yeah, it will test you, but
Yeah.
it is worth it.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the design stuff, I wanted to ask you about that because you showed us that picture. Justin showed us that picture you did of him. Is this something you want to pursue career-wise, or is it something you just do for a bit of fun? Or
So I did graphic design fresh out of school. I did a 1-year diploma for graphic design, but I found along the way that really wasn't what I wanted to do. Like it was more, you know, business, like less fun. You couldn't really branch out and do your own thing. You had to stick to what the client wanted. Whereas I obviously enjoy doing a bit more fantasy, a bit more colorful shit, like a bit more shit where I've sort of got free reign on what I can do. So I didn't end up finishing my course. It's a long story, but basically I didn't finish the last trimester because I moved for football. But I found during that course that, yeah, graphic design wasn't what I wanted to do. I was much happier doing like some of my own stuff. So a mate of mine and I are actually working on a comic at the moment. So we've actually got like a little partnership, and we have about 3 or 4 comics planned in the works, and we're almost up to illustrating our first one now. Obviously it's been rough since COVID and whatnot and all the lockdowns, but we're getting back into it next week. And yeah, we've been working on this for, I think, about the last 3 or 4 years, but that's sort of where my creative side has gone to. It's gone away from more career and just more into like Justin with his D&D and like creating his fucking maps and like shit like that. It's more for me, less to earn. Like if I could earn money with it, it'd be great, but it's more just because it's a passion that I sort of want to pursue and keep up with so that I don't lose it. And yeah, I found that sort of channeling that into working on some comics and, you know, writing stories to go along with it is much more engaging for me than just doing graphic design and getting hired to make someone else's logo that like I might hate. Like they might have an idea and I might hate it, and if I try and change it, they're like, no, I don't want that. Keep it the way I gave it to you.
I feel that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for me,
I think we all feel that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
when I was younger, I was doing my work experience to be a video editor, and holy shit, I hated it because nothing is worse than like you see something, you're like, oh yeah, I could really do something nice with this, this, and this, and then you see the like producer's notes, and it's like, we want you to do this, and you're like, that's shit.
But that's jacked.
Yeah. But that's exactly it, right? Like, I think that's why we do this podcast as well. Is this is our creative outlet, and you know we do it to have fun, not to make money.
Yeah. Although we make loads of money from our creepy sponsors.
Yeah, that's true.
Loads. We are just rolling in it. Can't you tell from Justin's shiny head?
That's exactly right.
We spent all our budget on his head wax, and we couldn't get sleeves for Brady.
Why is it the only one that benefits from this is the guy who gets permanent tattoos?
What do you mean?
Oh, that's right. He sold his mustache for that tattoo.
Exactly. But there's some poor sick kid that's now got a mustache wig.
I was picturing that too. Like some 7-year-old, he's like, ha! Running around like fucking Mario. Oh shit.
Brett, as a PT on the other side of your stuff, have you seen the anime? That's right.
Jesus
Christ.
Back to anime.
Have you seen How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? Which is the actual title, yes.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so
I thought you were segueing back into fitness.
No, it's both. I'm not going to talk fitness on this fucking show. No, so I think the title is probably like a way too direct, like, how much do you lift, bro?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
What is it? You don't pick up girls in a dungeon or whatever the fuck that anime is called.
Yeah. How not to pick up girls in a dungeon or something like that. Yeah. But it has like another name, that one as well. But yeah, How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift is like, it's a fitness show, but it feels like, you ever watch those like cartoons in school that try to teach you things?
Yeah.
It feels like that, but it's anime and stupid. And some of the stuff is like outdated. Like they're talking about like at the end of one episode, they're talking about like the anabolic window and how you got to have a protein shake within 2 hours, otherwise your workout's shit. Like it's like some outdated science in there, but like a lot of the stuff, like they're demonstrating exercises like pretty spot on and stuff. And I just laughed a lot because the most anime thing they could do, they did do. The trainer who comes up is like this skinny Japanese man in this fucking tracksuit. And his last name is like Macho, but like, so it's Macho, but like, but then he's like goes to show them something. So he's like, yeah, so blah, blah, blah. And he's like, skinny dude in the tracksuit. And then he's just like, huh! And Master Roshi's out of all of his shit. Like, he's fucking giant and shredded, but he still has a tiny head. like his traps are like just about coming out of his ears, but he's just like...
You would be surprised how realistic that stereotype is, though. I used to have a boxing coach. I had a boxing coach who was just literally that. We were in the gym one day and we were all like footy kids. Like, we were pretty fit and we're just sitting there whinging about how hard something was one day. Like, I think we couldn't lift some weights or couldn't do enough push-ups. And he goes, he's Irish. So he's like, oh, you boys are complaining. He goes, let me show you how it's done. And he gets down on his fingertips and pumps out about 20 reps on his fucking tips of his fingers. He's like 70 years old. And we're just standing there in awe. We're like, what the fuck is this? Like, we can't even do it on our hand.
I want to try that now.
Fingertips are fine. They're not as hard as they seem, but there are definitely like some push-up variations that are just fucked up gross. Yeah. I always end up, when I do the fingertip ones, because my fingers can go like the wrong way for the knuckles.
Yeah.
I always end up with like Spider-Man hands.
I'm picturing like the chick from The Ring. Just...
So I could like backwards circle my fucking finger.
As Jax.
Yeah. No, I thought that was worth mentioning. I'm not going to get another bro on the show to talk about anime with bro stuff with.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen that, but it does sound intriguing.
No, it feels like Food Wars, because you know how they like explained all the food? Yeah, they like explain the recipe and it's like done really well. And then it goes to this like horribly stupid anime shit. It's like that, but for working out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's really like...
mad.
That was one of my favorite things about Seven Deadly Sins is Escanor.
Oh my god, Escanor's great.
Starts off so skinny and then he's just fucking jacked when the sun comes out.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that.
Seven Deadly Sins. I can't forgive them for the animation quality of season 3. That was fucking atrocious. I
don't even remember it. Hey,
it was so bad.
I stopped at some point. I think it was like halfway through the last season, and I just didn't pick it up for like a year. And then I was like,
it felt like it was drawn out the last season though too.
Well, like it felt like the end of the 3rd season. They were just about to have like the final confrontation between the 7 Deadly Sins and the 10 Commandments. And then it's like, nope, we're going to get you a whole new season out of that. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Typical.
Yeah, sounds like a story arc if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
They like fully drew it out.
Flashbacks to Justin's D&D sessions.
Right? You're on your path to doing something.
Well,
nothing happening.
On the fucking cliffhangers.
So it's all aired now, guys, so you've definitely seen it.
For sure. Absolutely have seen it.
In the first session, so episode 1, he's just like gives this epic description of the world, and then he's like, all right, so you're in the woods, you're like 9 years old, fuck off with sticks, what are you gonna do? And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, what are you doing? We're like, what the fuck? What is happening here? What do you mean?
Yeah, I was so confused because like my previous experience was our Christmas special, which like there was at least, I felt a good jumping off point because there was a dead body in the room. I'm like, well, I can saw his head off with the chair leg. Like, also with the D&D one, like,
of course,
we had characters given to us for Christmas, right? And we were in a dungeon. Whereas this one, Justin goes, all right, we're gonna do this. Go off and make characters. And we're like, here's the characters, Justin. He's like, thank you. All right, now forget that. You're 9 years old. Like, what? The fuck?
It worked well.
Storytelling is really cool, but it did feel really like you could see it on the video. Our faces were just like, sorry, what? Fuck you.
Why is this a thing?
I think Zach took the reins on the start of that, which was...
He did. He was like, I'm going to go play with mushrooms. And we're like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, I guess that was a bit of a hint towards what he ends up doing later on as well.
This is very true.
It worked very well, but it was just very funny.
Nice.
And in different news, I've bought Elden Ring.
I could see it on your screen, and I could see the little like. I was like, he bought Elden Ring. He got fucking used car salesman. Buy now.
Buy now, and it won't be any cheaper than tomorrow.
And to everyone listening, that's your cue to go buy Elden Ring as well.
Man, we need some
Not
sponsorship for these
sponsored.
guys.
From
Damn it.
software just dropping dollars in our bank accounts.
God damn. I wish. I'd be happy with a fucking poster.
Just give you a little sticker this big.
No, I got those with the game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that patch on my denim jacket. It's gonna look sweet.
Dude, I'm trying to work out. Do I just put it on this? Or?
Yeah.
Sweater with the Elden Ring on there.
Do it like a teacher's jacket. Put it on as an elbow patch.
Dude, that sweater is an elbow patch away from being old as fuck.
Ah, it's brilliant. I love it. I love it.
Well, what do you think Elden refers to? Old as fuck.
Just Justin.
Talking about my asshole.
Oh god.
Wowee. That's
Alright, on that note, guys,
Oh Jesus.
do you reckon that about rounds us out?
No, because we haven't even talked about Hellboy. That's a thing on its own.
well, Brady
Alright,
out here
well,
trying
let's-
to end the episode.
All right.
Okay.
Cracking along. Let's go. Hellboy. All right.
Was Ron Perlman the best Hellboy?
Yes,
Okay. Well,
without a doubt.
that's all we need.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. guys.
He agrees with me, and that's what matters.
Is it because you look like him?
Wait, he looks like Ron. Who looks like Ron Perlman?
No, Brandt looks a little Hellboyish.
Okay, I can. I thought you were
If I
trying to
get
make
the-
fun of my
If
top
I get
lip.
the
here.
bun going on, I think if I try and get the bun going,
That'd be sick. That'll definitely be the thumbnail now. We're trying to turn you into
Alright, well,
Hellboy.
you brought it up, so like fucking awkward
Yeah.
segue into why are we
Yeah,
talking
well-
about Hellboy?
Because it's good and such.
Hellboy is good. I've never
definitely,
gotten
yeah.
into the comics or anything, but I've seen all the movies.
The art
Um,
style is very
see,
different
this-
in the
this
comics
is
than what you
why-
imagine it as.
yeah, the art style, Mike Mignola's art style is amazing. Like
It's
I fucking
beautiful,
love his art style.
it's-
The
I think
shadows
it's-
and the way he works with his negative space is so good.
Yeah.
So
It's
the thing I think was interesting was the most recent Hellboy, like the other Hellboy, the one that
Yeah.
people don't talk about. It seemed like what they did with the whole Tokyo Ghoul thing, and that was they got all of the stuff. They just got all the things and they put it all into one because they're like, oh, we only get one shot at this, so let's do it all. And it doesn't make a lot of sense if you're watching it outside of anyone who's not.
I
a fan
did
of the
feel a little
comics.
bit lost.
Yeah, like there's a lot
when I was watching those
happening.
ones.
It's like the best of fight scenes for Hellboy.
Yeah. Because
Like,
it
you
made
just
sense
one
to
after
someone
another
who
after
sees
another.
It. Yeah, like
Yeah,
even-
it makes sense for you, right?
But even though I knew what it was, I still didn't like it because they really like cut short a lot of the meaningful characters. Like a lot of the characters that took a fucking long time to build up in the comics, they just sort of brushed past them like, oh, here he is, on to the next, here he is, on to the next.
It was
Like,
like
it's-
best of. You know,
Yeah,
It
like,
did
yeah.
feel that way. The action scenes were fucking good,
They were mint.
but it
yeah.
did feel like the actual development of anything was like, oh, you guys have seen the other movies. Speed run the shit out of this.
They tried to do Infinity War without an Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, I was actually watching a thing on Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies and why Spider-Man 3 sucked so much ass. And
So bad.
apparently it was because the producers were like, okay, we know that you usually choose the villains, but we want all these ones because we want to be able to make toys and stuff out of it. And that's
Yeah,
why
right.
they did it.
Franchise it.
And
yeah.
it sounds like that's kind of like what they were doing with the Hellboy movie, like
Yeah.
the latest one. Is like they're like, we want to market the shit out of this, so have everything, and you've got an hour and a half, make it happen.
Yeah.
That is what sucked about that Spider-Man movie, by the way. It was purely the amount of content that they fucking... I mean, the weird dancing emo... Like,
So there's actually an
Hey,
explanation for that.
Yeah,
too.
don't disrespect that scene, all right? That is pure genius filmmaking.
I liked the confident stuff and that it wasn't just pure aggression. There were other parts of his personality getting played with, but the execution was just fucking jank.
So
it was weird.
Sam Raimi actually had never seen more than a little bit of Venom ever, because he's a big fan of the old comics. So Venom had only just came in by the time he stopped reading Spider-Man, and early Venom is a very different thing to modern Venom, and that's why he wrote it like that, because that's all he knew. And the producers were like, we need Venom, and he knew the whole story of the symbiote and all that sort of stuff. So he wrote it in like that, and that's what you ended up with when trying to do that. With there was a story of like the successor to the Green Goblin, Sandman, all that shit.
It's way too much on.
Just like shoved in there, and then they were like, "Oh, relationship drama in the middle of it." Like, it was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, but Hellboy.
Hellboy. Talk about that, right?
But,
like,
I mean,
that's like Spider-Man movies just came out. It's relevant.
That's like the same curse, though. I feel like the Hellboy movie would have benefited so much more from being a TV series. Like it would have killed as a TV series where they had stretched out everything a lot more. But yeah, I really didn't like it because of how much they tried to cram in. But I mean, I don't know if I was the biggest fan of David Harbour as Hellboy either, especially with the makeup. The makeup made him look like he was struggling to move his lips, and it was just something about it.
It is interesting though, like watching what's happening with film and TV shows. It seems like the barrier of TV shows being inferior has been broken down somewhat in recent years, which is good. But I still feel like they're not necessarily choosing them the right way. Like what's going in what medium. Like I've watched some movies and been like, that was why is that not like drawn out in a series? And I've watched some series and been like, you could have covered that shit in an hour and a half. Like what the fuck?
Well, I think it was shows like The Sopranos that really broke that down. Like that was the first, big budget HBO series, and they've really fleshed it out. They gave you 1 hour episodes, continuity and all that sort of shit. Now everyone's throwing budget at TV shows, but the people who have the money are the ones making the dumb fucking decisions. Because I don't necessarily blame like the director or anything like that. I think it's the people who are throwing money at these projects aren't looking at it from the perspective of a fan. They're looking at it from the perspective of, we want a return on investment. And that's where it kind of shits the bed a lot.
You'd think they'd be starting to learn from that though. Like Deadpool's a good example where they were like, the studio were like, fuck no, fuck no, fuck no. Test footage got leaked and they went, oh well, there is a lot of screaming fans about this. So then they make the movie, but with a really severely limited budget, and it does fucking amazing. Like the cost versus return on that movie was like one of the best in like fucking recent history. And it's like, guys, maybe you should start listening a little bit more to fandoms. I know they do get it wrong from time to time. There are some terrible movies that shouldn't have been made because there's some very hardcore cult fans out there. But most of the time, I think if they followed a little bit more with what the fandom wants, they'd end up with a good product.
I mean, just look at Sonic. Like,
yes,
Sonic
100%.
Sonic got redone completely because the fans were so pissed, and it made so much money.
And the thing is, no one takes the movie seriously before or after the changes. Like, it is just like, you can watch it, you can see. No one asked for a live action Sonic, really, but what we didn't ask for is what they were doing.
I mean, I wasn't too fussed. Like, I wasn't too keen when I first saw the footage. I was like, nah, like, that's going to be another bomb and I don't care. It was only when they changed it, I went and saw it, and I actually like really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. It was a pretty good movie. They really did well with like showing Sonic's loneliness and shit. And I thought that was such a cool thing to put in a kids movie. Like that was really well done.
And bringing on Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik or Eggman.
Man, his voice at the end when he's like starting to turn into Eggman sounds identical to him in the games. Like he really nailed it right at the end there.
And I'm so excited to see Jim Carrey in a role that isn't him just fucking dragging off his old success movies. or like being a fucking crazy person. Like
That said, I would be
He was
keen
one
as
of my
fuck to
favorite
see Ace
comedians.
Ventura like come back.
Oh my god, an Ace
That one I
Ventura
would.
reboot.
Can you imagine?
that one
It's
I
like one of
would,
my
but
favorite
why?
movies.
Why is he doing Cable Guy?
Yeah,
Mm,
that was supposed to be one of his biggest bombs. Like I thought it was okay, but
yeah.
Why is he redoing and Dumb and Dumber? I don't want another one of
Yeah.
that. I
Nah,
barely
Dumb and
give-
Dumber
Is he
was
doing
fucking
another
great.
I
one?
didn't need a second one of that.
Oh.
Nah, man.
I thought you were going to say there's another one. I was like, God, get fucked.
No, he
Get
did
fucked.
another one of them recently though. Ish. It was
Oh,
coming
yeah.
Yeah,
Was
Dumb
it?
and Dumberer.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, Jim Carrey didn't do Dumb and Dumberer.
No, he wasn't
No.
in that.
Hang on. No, I swear he did one recently.
So,
Look it up.
Dumb and Dumber 2 came out in 2014.
Damn. I didn't even know that came out. So there you go. It's because it's not great.
And yeah, it did. It was Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Didn't
There
even
you
know
go.
what happened.
It was shit. I hated it.
But
That's
see,
why.
that's the other thing, right? Is some of those sorts of movies only need one. Like
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber, the
Yeah.
first one, fantastic.
Mm,
Dumb and Dumberer, okay, but I could definitely live without it.
yeah.
Anchorman, fantastic as a solo movie.
Mm,
The sequel, arse.
Yeah.
Absolute arse. And it's like if you look at another Will Ferrell movie, Talladega Nights, if they had have done a sequel to that, fuck me, that would be awful. Like, just leave it at one fucking movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's too
these
hard.
movies, they
It's too
wrap
hard for him to
themselves
leave
up.
it as it's too hard for him to leave him at one thing. Like
Yeah.
it's all about that money.
That's
Okay,
exactly
so-
it.
Sonic is coming out this year, obviously. Ace
Yeah.
Ventura 3 is
Sonic
to
2
be
is so
announced.
good.
Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious?
It's in development.
No.
Doesn't have a date, but yeah, it's
Bro.
coming out.
Oh my God.
But I saw him share a thing.
I'm so
About
happy
the
right
cable
now.
guy? Yeah,
Yeah.
he did. He posted on Twitter.
Yeah, that's not in this list, so that's very strange.
Good.
And
That means Ace Ventura is coming out first. Fuck that.
and
That's
I don't
it.
know.
We're
if
all
it's a
going to the
doco.
movies.
I don't know if it's a doco. It might be. But
Ace
he's
Ventura
pla-
doco.
That's
no,
weird.
no.
I'll still
He's
watch
doing-
it.
There's a show called Seuss, or a movie, and it says he's playing Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think that's a doco, especially because playing a person in a documentary is fucking
Who
but, like,
also
they-
doesn't exist.
No, not a doco, but they did like that Walt Disney.
You mean
one
a
and
bioflick?
Yeah.
I think that is what it is, if memory
Okay.
serves. I did hear a little
Fair.
bit about that.
Yeah, cool.
It's just started pouring down with rain again, so I think this may be a good time to wrap it up before I end
now
up
it's
in
okay.
ankle
Now
deep.
just
I just
Because
wanna
I'm
say
flooding.
one more
I'm
thing on
flooded,
Hellboy
you
and,
piece of
like,
shit.
One more thing on like Hellboy and like the actors and like doing it for the fans.
Yeah.
I found out that that Ron Perlman, the reason why he's always going to be the best fucking Hellboy is because he was in an interview and he got asked about Hellboy 3 and he said, "Look, I'm 70 years old. I don't really want to do it, but we owe it to the fans."
Yeah,
Ron
he's
Perlman's
damn.
a fucking
He's
man.
down to do Hellboy 3 because he
That's
owes
sick.
it to the fans.
That's awesome.
That's why he'll
what you
forever be
want.
I have
Hellboy.
nothing but love for Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Like,
Right?
no matter how bad a movie is, if Ron Perlman's in it, I'm like, respect.
You should
Dude,
check out
Sons of
West
Anarchy
Dead.
was so much better with him. Like,
Okay,
you know what
I
I mean?
definitely
Like,
will.
If you check out West of Dead, that's a game where Ron Perlman is the main voice character. It's like a Metroidvania set in the Old West, but like
I'd play
the
that.
undead of the Old West. So you're like
Oh.
you look like Ghost Rider, and you're voiced by Ron Perlman. And
What the
that-
fuck? Why have I
yeah.
not heard of this?
It's
Bro,
good.
I
It's
think
really
I
good.
think I recall this. You can upgrade your bike, right?
No.
Okay, never mind.
No
I'll go
idea.
fuck myself.
No, it's just a little Metroidvania.
It
but
is on
it's-
Steam. Yeah.
It's very good. Like it's pretty fun.
Nice.
All right, so
All right.
I
We're
suggest
just selling
that
the
we
shit out of these games. Jace is like, this is this podcast. Like, I'm broke.
No. I sold all my collector's editions. I'm rich again temporarily.
nice. Do we sell you
So
on
I
a few
reckon
more
we keep
games?
doing this episode until Justin's actually swimming.
I can
He's up to
hear
his
the
chest in
water.
water.
I can hear the water running into the nerd shack right now. So for those that don't notice, maybe I don't know, the whole backdrop looks a little bit different, maybe even mirrored. I don't know, could be opposite.
Who
It's
knows?
because the backdrop originally is over that side of my nerd shack, which is underwater. So yeah, it's happening. So here in Australia right now, in New South Wales, we're getting roughly 200 millimeters of rain per day, and that 200 millimeters of rain decided to bless itself onto my carpet.
You know, if your lawn was longer, it probably would have stopped all that water coming in.
Yes.
Wow.
It didn't help me.
It didn't help him at all. So get fucked.
Well, it's helped me just fine. Like the fact that my house is elevated also helps.
Yeah, that would also help. Yeah. So it's been fun.
Brandt, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this.
Thanks for having me,
Basement
guys.
Dwellers, check out all of our content from now on. You should hopefully get an episode of Dungeons and Discourse pretty much weekly. There may be a couple gaps in between for editing purposes, but it should be pretty much weekly. Yep. Along with a standard episode of Basement Discourse, we'll have the occasional guest.
And if we can, we will also put details about Brandt's comic and stuff in the details.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, thank you very much,
Do you want to,
guys.
just before we fully end it out, do you want to actually plug anything you want?
I mean, I guess I can't go by without plugging my Instagram.
Oh, go for it, mate.
Go for it, man.
Just BERKRAID. It's if you follow BERKRAID, that's the it'll pop up.
Easy. We'll
So
I'll tag it in the show
BERKRAID.
notes as well anyway,
Yep.
So that'll be there. But thank you so much for coming on.
No,
Thank you,
thanks for having
Jace,
me,
for
guys.
gaming.
Thank you.
Justin, for creeping out in the corner. And
You're welcome.
I've been your weird otaku dude.
Go buy
Thanks,
Elden Ring,
guys.
everybody.